Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Grand Rounds. Happy New Year. For those of you who have not yet seen, I'm not entirely sure how long you can go into January and still say Happy New Year. But I think it's for the first Grand Round of 2026, it's appropriate enough. It's pretty cold outside. Maybe this is the start of the Ice Age. But hopefully we'll last another semester of Grand Rounds before the entirety of Tayside freezes. We 2025 saw another, I think, 30 separate Grand Rounds all uploaded to the YouTube channel with 25 new speakers, at least. And some of those were student presentations, so you get more than one student at those occasions. We had speakers from all around the UK. We had in-person presentations in the Wolfson and the Ganachie. We had Zoom, and we had Teams, and a bit of everything in between. 2026 hopes to continue that trend with more talks from internal and external speakers. We're hoping to continue our multidisciplinary approach and have speakers from all departments across the hospital and university. We welcome our students, AHPs, and even members of the public who've come to speak with us, which and some patient input as well. We start off as we do at the start of every month with the University Medical School Centre for Medical Education, who broadly talk about scholarship. And today we're lucky to have with us Dr. Kalpana, Ragupathy, and Jordan, who is going to come and talk about. I'm trying to remember which way around your surnames go. She's going to tell me.
No, it's okay. I quite like the fact I just got first names. It's Jordan Napier-Morrow.
Napier-Morrow. I was going to go Morrow Napier, and there you go. So, yeah. Napier-Morrow, who are going to talk to us about the gamification of medical education, which you'll see on the screen already. There's a Menti code, which is the inference being that there's going to be some audience participation. So, usual Zoom rules apply. Mute your microphones. You can leave your camera on if you'd like to, or you turn it off if you want to. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, or wait till the end where you can put up your physical hand and ask a physical question. Okay, so kicking off the 2026 Grand Rounds, Kalpana and Jordan.
At that time, yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much, Tom. And looks like about 23 people have accessed the Menti. Others, if you can log in, that will be really helpful because we have structured the entire talk in the form of a game. So please try and log in into Menti, and it is quite easy to navigate once you're in there.
It's the other way for some reason. Go.
Okay. I think, I really hope everyone has had a really good break. I was on call during Christmas period, but it was still a good break and got to play quite a few games with staff at the hospital and at home. So I'm hoping that, all of you have had a great time, and it is a nice topic to start off just close to the holiday season of gamification and how we can use this nicely in medical education. So for those of you who don't know me, I've got a gynecology background, but I'm also convener for years 1 to 3 MBCHB program. And
I'm Jordan Napier-Morrow. I work in the medical school as staff development lead.
Okay, so we are hoping in the next 40 minutes or so, we are able to deliver the following goals for your CPD, and you can all put it in your appraisal. What is gamification? What is the andragogy behind using this in medical education? Even though we are talking about undergraduate medical education, there are few concepts here. Easily you can use it in postgraduate education as well. We'll give you some examples from the medical school University of Dundee, as well as worldwide examples. You'll be able to identify the benefits and understand what the limitations are. And we are really, really hoping you're able to apply some basic gamification strategies in any of the sessions you're going to give this year. So a disclaimer, usually people ask, oh, do you have a degree in this? I do not have a degree in gamification, but I absolutely enjoy games. So much so I had active de-addiction program last year for Candy Crush. I reached 10,000 level, and then I started spending a lot of money in the night, spending on Candy Crush. So I do love games, and I try and incorporate it in every aspect of teaching I've ever done. I'm going to turn to Jordan and ask if she has any addiction problems.
Just post-it notes is the only thing I'd like to declare as my active
I
addiction.
believe you come up with something nerdy, and then I have just said, I have a Candy Crush addiction. Anyways, so the format is going to be, we look at the theory of what, why, and how gamification works, and some of the examples. And please play, because we have structured the play in two parts. The first part is we ask you to play, all of you will play, but then the top few will then come to play selected games. Okay, so there is a leaderboard happening in the background. We are hoping that this works. Let me see if I can share the video there. How do we work this video?
You could just press the play button in the middle. Press enter.
You can hear this? Okay, we are going to try something, because I think,
Sorry, I had the audacity to go and try and heat up my lunch. Did you ask me a question?
No, we are asking if, just a minute, we have to share it in a different way.
Is this the microphone will share, won't share thing?
Kissy face, sent to your phone, but I'm trying to kiss your lips for.
Okay, question is, let's go back to start the question. The first question is, can you hear me? Yeah? You saw that it was Rose singing the Apaka Pata song. Which Korean band does she belong to? You've got 7 more seconds. The answer is Blackpink. So 2 people have gotten it right. I'm not sure what red velvet is. Pata pata. Okay, I think we have lots of reflection here. This is your homework for the day. Please go and look up this. This is the 20th song, and you will be a guest in the Gen Z population if you're able to understand this music. Okay. But the reason why I put that was gamification is like that. All of us have heard about it, but very few actually would be implementing it in our education styles. So that was the whole concept of it. Anyway, so what is gamification? The basic cardinal principles are there needs to be a game design, but there also needs to be a sense of competition there. So, and competition can be in different ways. It could be badges. It could be like, saying that, oh, you're going to have a bonus points. You can have storylines, or the winner will get, if you're really rich, you can get some chocolate boxes, or more healthy options, fruit options maybe. But in the current financial situation, I don't think we can offer prices like that. But if you can, absolutely. So that competition element has to be there. So the games with the competition is supposed to make the whole learning experience quite hard and quite engaging for the students, so they will be able to understand the concepts better. This is the next question. You have to identify what game this is. I should say the way I've constructed the answer, it doesn't matter if you use caps lock or small letters, but the spelling needs to be right. That's good. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love that. I think that's a reflection for me. I will go and check out what is Brazilian. Okay, so I'll ask Jordan to go through the principles underlining gamification.
Kalpana's given me the boring bit to talk about, but obviously there's some evidence in the background of why gamification does work in education, and it relates to this theory of andragogy, which is just about adult learning principles. So one thing that learners are doing when they're involved in playing a game is that it's experiential. They're actually involved in the learning process. It's hands-on. So gamifying enhances that student experience by really giving them an experience to pin their learning onto, as well as reflecting on it and conceptualizing different things. And the different examples that we're going to give will give this in action. There's a self-directed learning element to it as well. And as Kalpana mentioned, there's a competitiveness which actually can drive to higher motivation and increase autonomy as well. And I'm sure we've all seen in medical student cohorts and the cohorts that I teach, which are mainly doctors, there's a personality that clings to competitiveness quite well. So that can be quite a good motivator. Deliberate practice theory can help us here as well. There's specific defined goals when you're playing a game. You've got a task to pin that onto, and there's immediate feedback that enables you to kind of develop skill and expertise. We've got the social aspect of it coming in as well. So you are self-evaluating, playing alongside other people when you're playing a game. Things like leadership boards, leaderboards will show a comparison. And again, that can be a motivator for learning. And also we've got this idea that we can reinforce learning through gamification as well, with the use of rewards. So it's almost a bit like the Pavlov's dogs as well. There can be a little bit of the behaviorism brought in as well. So there is actually some theory behind this that makes it work.
I think you subtly suggested we are a bit A plus, Jordan. Okay. I can see the messages that my voice is a bit shaky. I haven't slept very well last night, so it might be the case, or as Sarah is telling, the mentee is busy. Please bear with me. So the same advantages that Jordan just said can also be pitfalls. If the design of the game is not very good, the learning outcomes are not very well structured, then the competitive elements itself can become quite distracting for the students. So what the students might think, especially for time-based tasks, if they think that, oh, I've got to reach that goal, I've got only 30 seconds, then they are not undergoing the process properly. They are not studying the elements properly. So the way we design is very important, how we are going to deliver the outcomes. And there is a very unique concept called as over-justification. So if we give them a topic and deliver it in the form of a game, what they will do is they will revisit it, but more to win the game. And once the reward is gone, they will lose interest in that whole concept. So it can backfire. So it just has got to be a balance. And in the current situation where we are understanding more about neurodiversity, and we should make our education as equitable as possible for everybody, no matter what disability they have. As trainers, I think we have to be very vigilant. Is the game-based approach right for every single student? And then the onus is on us. So that creates time and resource constraints to produce a game-based approach for sessions. So I have put a photograph there. And I would like you to tell who is the author. This is the very famous series of books that eventually got made into movies and made an actress very, very famous. I don't know if I did this as a time-based or... Okay, 30.
Yeah.
Oh, suddenly there is like
A jump.
a jump. Okay, fine. Let's see.
Ooh.
Oh, fantastic. I think it comes and goes. Okay, I think it is just
Scroll down. I think there's a new message there.
your computer really.
It's because I'm on a Mac, so I've just
Yeah, because it's going the other way.
Here we go. That's fine.
Okay, that's fine if you go back. Yeah, it is Susan Collins, and the book is Hunger Games. Okay, so now we'll go to. So we saw what is gamification and why not. What are the techniques? So how are we going to deliver this? Broadly speaking, there are 4 types of gamification. One is serious games. Most of our teaching sessions, especially in the early years, we are trying to incorporate clinical reasoning, but it's extremely difficult in a lecture format. But the good thing about gamification is it enables you to have application of clinical reasoning and lots of clinical scenarios you can build into your teaching, so the students are able to apply the knowledge they are getting via your lecture and then learn the concepts better. Escape rooms have got this unique advantage that you can make it team based. So there's team based collaboration, and they understand how to work with each other and how to benefit from each other's skills. I think most of us are used to simulation by now, but simulation can be used for a full immersive experience, but with a competitive element. And finally, the most used one is changing the traditional board and card games that we play to suit our medical education needs. Now, I've given you specific example. I've given you 4 broad categories, but you can simplify it further by 2 methods. One is saying that, oh, am I going to just use game elements in my teaching? So I'm going to do my teaching in a traditional way, but I'm going to introduce game elements so that the students are engaged and they keep with me throughout the lecture. The second thing is completely delivering the teaching in a game-based fashion, and that can be facilitated or non-facilitated. So we'll start off with some examples from what we have used in the medical school before we go on to look to see what other universities are offering. So these are some of the game elements I have used. I'm sure my colleagues have used a lot in their teaching as well, but I have created this in my sessions. You can use this, they are free apps, so you can construct your own Wordle, a crossword, jigsaw puzzle, or a Mentimeter, the way we have used so far, trying to engage you into the teaching that we are doing. So that is the question. We have a link up there for the Wordle. I don't know if anyone can access it. Right at the top message. You have to solve the Wordle. Jordan has just copied and pasted the link. I'll give you a clue. A gynecologist's life becomes very easy if we are aware of this. You can use for endometriosis, endometrial cancer, pelvic pain, anything to do with gynecology, you can use this, except if they want to have a baby. Okay. Have you? So once you have solved it, you can put the word here.
No, I don't know already. Oh, Sarah got it in one.
Oh, Sarah, show off. Leslie, I'm really proud of you. Got it?
Got the middle there, isn't it?
Okay. Got 4 more seconds.
It's okay.
Okay.
Oh, of course it is.
Let's see how many. Oh, 3 responses. But then it's an education for everybody else. Yeah, I'm sure you've got partners, you've got doctors. Any gynae problem, think of a Marina coil. It is progesterone based and it is really good imbalance on the hypothalamus ovarian axis. So who is leading? Who is the magical rhino and the hustler? Because they get to play the next game. The hustler? Does anybody want to come forward and claim the hustler? Sarah, is that you, the hustler? Oh, excellent. Okay, next one. Oh, magical rhino. Magical rhino. Right? So the hustler and the magical rhino will play next. Oh, it's okay, you get to play the next game. Okay, so now let's, so we have talked about game elements. Now just a quick recap. We have demonstrated how you can use the Mentimeter to keep your audience captivated. You don't get to give feedback, by the way. We are just assuming you're captivated by the session we are delivering. The second thing is you can use like free apps, like Create Your Wordle, Crossword Puzzle, whatever you think that you can deliver with interest and passion. Because if you're not interested in it, the students are not going to enjoy it. Now we'll go to game-based learning, which is facilitated and non-facilitated. I'll hand over to Jordan now.
So the first one we've got here is a board game that I had made. In medical education, which is essentially a social science, there can be a lot of abstract concepts that are quite difficult to grasp and discuss in detail. And I thought that using a board game might help frame some discussions about specific topics. And one of the things that we come back to time and time again in staff training is looking at the hidden curriculum and its impact on learning environments. For those of you that are not familiar with the term, there's a definition on the slide there, but the hidden curriculum is the set of influences that function at the level of organizational structure and culture. So it's things like those implicit rules that you need to adapt to in order to survive in a given environment. So an example might be only senior doctors sit in that chair and use that computer. That might be something that happens in a department, or yeah, that's just the way things are done around here. It's culture, but it's culture at the level of how you learn and thrive and flourish in an environment. So I designed a very simple board game that you just go from start to finish, and you land on certain squares and you pick up a card that will prompt a discussion about something regarding the hidden curriculum. And you can see the little icons there. There is a pair of grey scrubs, which was a student situation. So that was a specific scenario related to a student. There's a little cup of coffee icon there, and that was about taking breaks and talking about well-being. There's an icon there about a dilemma, so a hidden curriculum dilemma. So this was sort of an ethical scenario that might come up in the learning environment. And I encourage people to discuss what would you do, or would you do nothing at all? So it could be something like a safety concern being raised. It could be a staff behaviour that was unprofessional or in some way unhelpful. And we also had some quite tongue-in-cheek things, like something good might happen in the board game. So you might drive into the Nine Wells car park and you get parked in car park 1 within 10 minutes. And then it's a bit of a bonus and your day gets off to a good start. And we also had some Z days. So if you landed on the Z square, you just got to take a sweet from the jar and just chill out for a little bit of time and take some rest. So the aim of the game is just to finish, to get across the finish line. But really the game is designed to prompt professional discussions and reflections on aspects of the hidden curriculum within medicine. And we've piloted it a couple of times with groups of staff. I'm keen to continue to do it. The feedback was that it helped frame conversations about things that can be quite heavy, but can be done in a tongue-in-cheek way, using a bit of humour and a light-hearted mode of getting involved. It works with 3 people and above, I've got it printed out. If anyone wants to borrow it and use it in your department, just give me a shout. I think it was really useful, and I'm keen to continue. And it's something that it was very low technology, because it's literally just some bits of paper, dice, some sweets, a little bit of printing involved, but not a huge amount. And once you've printed it once, it can be used multiple times. So it's quite sustainable, which is good. Another one that I wanted to give a shout out to is a clinical reasoning tile game that Dr. Claire Henderson, who is one of our anaesthetics registrars, but who worked with us as a medical education in a fellowship role for a couple of years. And she developed this brilliant clinical reasoning tile game, which hopefully you can see it okay on the slide there. But down the left-hand side, you've got all these different picture elements about a patient presentation. And the students got given a certain amount of the tiles filled in, and then had to work together to work out what the diagnosis would be along the top, and then what the characteristics, timings, social history, observations, etc. would be that aligned with that diagnosis. So the game was there, and it was, again, a printed out piece of paper with the tiles kind of just cut out of card, but the real learning was in the student discussions and justifications, and working in groups to question each other's decisions and work out what needed to go where, and then debrief at the end about how their decision making went. And Claire went on to work with colleagues in MFE and psychiatry and develop one about confusion. The one that she had originally made was about abdominal pain. Yeah. So and the students in fourth year have been playing with this a few times, and we are looking at if there's a way to get this into the curriculum. But it's been a really good way of framing clinical reason discussions. And the other one that I wanted to show, and you can see there's a real board game element here, because I also quite like the tactical element of board games. You've got something that you have to pick up and roll a dice and actually move the little people about the board. It takes you out of your head a little bit when you've got something to do with your hands when you're playing a game like that. And this was my medical education development fellow team, Hannah Lee Gray and Megan Turner, last year developed Mededopoly, which just rolls off the tongue, based on a Monopoly board. And again, it had lots of different environments in which learning happens in MedEd, and you got given a scenario, and it was really a basis for you to discuss with other people how you would handle these scenarios. So the example there is about outpatient clinic teaching, maybe having multiple different learners fighting for time and supervision, and getting you to think about how you prioritize teaching needs. And again, we've got the board, and if anyone wants to borrow it, you're more than welcome to. So the feedback from these three different types of board games has been that it's a good way of engaging people in conversations about things in a kind of low-tech way, and in a fun way that instantly makes people a little bit more engaged and willing to get involved with it.
Thank you. So Sarah and Ian, you are invited to play this game now. So this is a facilitated session I did for BMSc students recently. I did have a presentation. I had a standard 30 minutes presentation. I asked them what they want to do, and they all went for the Jeopardy. They said they would like to play a game. So this was game-based teaching. So we'll start off with two teams. Sarah Alstaff. And so basically, this was on cervical screening. And I have got tiles here, which is on risk reduction, symptoms and signs, investigation and management. So Sarah, do you want to go first? You want to select a tile and the question will be revealed to you.
Hang on a second. What's the prize? First of all, what am I playing for? Just the glory.
Just the glory of it, Sarah. You can add, if you want, I'll give you a certificate.
And do I have to click something, or do I have to tell you?
No, you tell me which row, which block you want. You tell the column name and the money.
Symptoms and signs for 400.
You go for the top. Okay. What is the symptom that makes you think it could be stage 3 cervical cancer?
Do I have to answer it as if it was Jeopardy? Do I have to say what is?
You can, or, just for this purpose, you can just tell the symptom. Yeah.
What is postcoital bleeding? I
Okay,
have no
that
idea.
is. So the postcoital bleeding, you're right, Sarah. Most often cervical cancers come with postcoital bleeding, but there's something more here, asking what is stage 3 cervical cancer. So the question is designed to think, oh, if it is an advanced cervical cancer, they might have bleeding, but something else as well makes you straight away think in the clinic, oh, this is going to be stage 3.
What is lymphadenopathy? I don't know.
Okay, so stage 3 is usually when the cervical cancer has spread out with and is causing obstruction on the ureter to cause hydronephrosis. So they will have quite a bit of loin pain. Okay, so when you see that with the patient that you've just seen, it's a bedside examination and you're like, oh, I'm worried that it is a more advanced stage. Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's see the space bar. So it's a
Flank
flat
pain.
thing. Okay, so next is Ian, your turn. Where do you want to go?
Oh dear. Let's go risk reduction, shall we?
Yes. Which one?
300.
300.
I've never watched Jeopardy, so this is a new experience.
I'm the same, Ian. I have no idea about Jeopardy either.
Okay.
But it's teaching me about this.
How many high-risk HPV subtypes does the nonavalent vaccine protect against?
Hey, that's too easy. I
No,
object.
it's not. I'm an anaesthetist. This is not. This is
It's
not my
in the question.
area of operations.
No, Sarah, do not misguide him. Ian, I'll give you a clue. Nonavalent vaccine has got 9 viruses that it protects against, but the question is asking how many high-risk subtypes.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to guess 2. I'm sure I've read that somewhere or heard it.
Okay, so the correct answer is 7. Okay, 2 low-risk viruses and 7 high-risk viruses. Now, the reason why it was not to test Ian's or Sarah's knowledge at all, but just to say how important the role of the facilitator is. I'm still giving the content of the slides that I have prepared to them, but in a very engaging format. So just to see how gamification works. Okay, so we'll go back to our Mentimeter. Both of you did really well. Okay, so but the examples that we have shown so far is facilitated. You can also go to completely non-facilitated game-based learning where as a tutor you're not there, but you're making sure that the learning outcomes are met. Stephen, without your permission, I've used your slides. I'm so sorry for that. So this was a virtual escape room we created last year. So I had this idea that we'd usually deliver cervical screening in small group sessions, which would take about 8 hours of teaching during a single week, cancer week of reproduction block, and decided, okay, it can be delivered in a different format. So the session ran by itself with the help of Eve. Eve did all the illustrations, and Stephen, who's leading on Tilt, helped us set up the whole escape room. So we used a technology that is H5P. I went in to say that, oh, I need these rooms, and these are the activities in each room. And the student has to go through each of the rooms, finally collect all the keys, and then escape the escape room on time to finish the whole module. So they used the H5P app to create that. You can see that, imagination, I had to use quite a bit of my brain for this. Created a character called as Tay to be gender neutral, because as we know, cervical screening can be for trans men as well as women, anyone with a cervix. So looked for a gender neutral name, and basically the students are following the journey of Tay from the time they're born in Dundee, and it is within their powers to prevent Tay from getting cervical cancer. So they follow Tay from the time Tay is in school right up to the university, and then they are married, they've got children. So it just follows their pathway. Okay, so you've got a briefing room, and then theory theater is where I give them a recorded PowerPoint presentation talking about theory, and they have to finish it. So that way I'm making sure that my standard teaching is also delivered to them. Vaccination vault, where they learn about HPV vaccine. That nonavalent vaccine protects against 7 high-risk HPVs. Crossword cave, where they are going through a whole crossword puzzle and learning about the different cervical screening parameters. And then there's a picture portal where they actually click on all the photos that they think will help in the whole process of tape getting not getting cervical cancer. But the final thing is a consultation clinic where there is branching. So a question is given to them, and dependent on the answer, they are taken to different scenarios. And then finally, we know that whether they have succeeded in helping Tay or not. Okay, so this session just ran on its own. We didn't have a tutor in the session. And these were the student instructions given at that time. And this is the feedback from the survey. Out of all this, I think, I liked where they said the music set the mood, because I really troubled Stephen a lot. I said, I want Avengers music in this. And Avengers music is so copyrighted. We didn't have the money. And bless him, he somehow he got a cover version of Avengers music, and we put it. So every room, when they pass through the room, the music comes, and it's quite glorious for them to go through it. But you can read the feedback yourself, that they did like it quite a bit. And we have taken suggestions how we can make it better. It was the more cases at the end just implies that this is adult-based learning, and they would like more clinical reasoning. So this year we are going to input more case-based teaching at the end. And this is the only objective feedback I could think of bringing it here. So we usually deliver 3 major concepts during the Cancer Week: systematic workup of pelvic masses, cervical screening, and management of common gynae cancers. I didn't change the format. We delivered the first and the third topic, but we did change the way cervical screening pathway was changed. And you can see that the other 2 are quite static of how much they understood the concept, but cervical screening pathway has had a little bit of a increase. So I think, it did work well. And we did save up on 8 hours of tutor time as well. We didn't have to cancel any of our cancer activities during that week. So going on to world examples, and this is just, literally I'll take 4 more minutes, because this is just for you to be aware what is available. And if you wanted to utilize, Tilt will be able to help you out for material that's already available here. But if you just wanted to use something that's available elsewhere, these are all free ones that you can use. So this is a board game. I don't know if Sudhir is joined in. In all the years I've been at the university, I have never managed to impress Sudhir. He's so good in what he does. But when I was going through this gamification, I sent this bloody board game to him. That's what the game is about. And he was truly impressed. So I thought that's a big win for me. This is totally based on anemia, 5 kinds of anemia, I think. And then with the board game, you'll be able to deliver the outcomes for the students. The escape room was developed in Saudi. This is more for making sure that the students are able to apply Beer's criteria for prescribing. So they have to go through 5 sets of puzzles, applying the principles of Beer criteria, making sure that they collect enough rewards, in which case they can go and save Jerry, who is stuck in the 5th floor, I believe, and give them the vaccine that they need. And they have... It's a nice thing. And they looked at the team-based activity, and they felt that females did much better than males in getting out of the escape room quickly. This is a fantastic source. It's called as Emerge. It is based on accident and emergency. It is a 3D high-fidelity simulation environment. It is available online. You go there, you click in, Avatar invites you, but you need a facilitator there. You're given scenarios. The students can ask the avatar the questions that they want to, and then they follow this person, and then they have to manage the scenario. There are 4 case scenarios. What they did was they tested the students on the pre-simulation knowledge versus post-simulation knowledge. And you can see that across the semesters, it showed that after the simulation, they were much better in managing the A&E situation. And interactive platforms, we have demonstrated one, which is the Mentimeter, but Kahoot and Socrates work very well as well. It is like a classroom situation. You bring all the students into the virtual classroom, and then you can get them to do activities together or as individuals. This is for the GPs. It's called as the Challenge GP. So there is a facilitator. Different cards have got different scenarios. You play like a card game, but you also, each of the group will have these 4 special cards. So you can deflect a question or you can ask help and things like that. So it's another interactive, facilitated platform. So a recap. So we looked at the theory of what, why not, how. I'm hoping that you've had lots of examples given, and as Stephen has put in the chat, they will be able to help you if you have a concept in your head to make it a reality. Tilt will be able to help, and then you've got to play. You had to play a few things as well. So just a little bit, 2 take-home messages. If you want to design a game, start with very clear learning objectives. So your objectives need to be quite clear. Otherwise, you can get distracted, and the students can get distracted as well. Use very simple things to start off with. Use game elements rather than game-based teaching. Get comfortable with your game elements, and then as a facilitator, you will be much better. Try to balance the competition and collaboration, because even though we are A+ personalities, Jordan, we still need to work as a team when we are in the clinical environment, and provide meaningful and constructive feedback. So rather than saying, oh, this is not the right answer or anything like that, explain the concept. That should be the aim of the game. And then based on the learner feedback, refine your gaming elements. And the faculty role should be absolutely a facilitator, not as a content provider. Monitor the engagement, debrief the main learning points, and ensure that there is alignment on what you started off and what you ended with. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Should we stop sharing? Yeah. Oh, look at that! Suddenly there's like yeah.
See all the little claps and rounds of applause. Now, I think I don't know whether Sarah got off lightly there with only one question, or whether she did her own grave by asking for the 400 on the Jeopardy. But I'm pretty pleased it wasn't me that was trying to answer that question. Crivens, that's a long way below the diaphragm. Well, that's amazing, fantastic stuff, and some really good examples of what you've been working on with your fellows and the work that that's going on. I think when I lecture, and obviously my lectures are amazing, Jordan, as you well know, nodding furiously. But plenty of people get a snooze whilst they're in the back of the lecture theatre, because lectures are boring, aren't they? I mean, that's the problem. You sit through 3 lectures a day, and eventually it catches up with you. You fall asleep. This keeps us it's a bit more lively, isn't it? Keeps things awake, keeps us going, keeps it a bit more interesting. There were some comments in the chat about Charlotte, for example. I'm sorry for singling you out, Charlotte, but you put it in the chat. Whether this style of teaching is best delivered in a flipped format. I think primary teaching of a subject via quiz could be demotivating if students lack the knowledge when attempting the quiz. Any thoughts, comments?
I think Kalpana's escape room is probably a nice example of where you've got the little sort of seminar that's delivering the specific knowledge that they need. So by the time they get into the gamified elements of asking the questions and working together on the puzzles, they've already had that bit.
Yeah, and then evidence is also quite strong, isn't it, Jordan, to say that a standard lecture, the amount that we can deliver, small group or like a flipped, a blended learning, is going to push up the amount that they actually understand. So I think we do need to look at these different formats. The reason why I kept the standard delivery is I didn't want them to not listen to the key concepts of it before they go into the competition. So you can do that. And again, being a facilitator, that's where your role becomes extremely important, that you gear, as much as the game is going on, you're trying to pull them back into the learning concepts. Yeah.
It does seem to me like the context is king here, and you wouldn't just throw somebody into your Jeopardy game without having, that's kind of the end of the block. You've been to lots of lectures, you've been to some clinics, you've interacted. What have you learned? What extra things you may have missed because the Swiss cheesing of not seeing someone in clinic, etc. Rather than just day one. Come on, Sarah, what's flank pain? Come on, let's go. Um, that's great.
But Sarah went for 400, isn't it? She could have gone
Well,
for
honestly,
100.
like I say, she dug her own grave there, didn't she? I'll take 400. She was full of confidence. I'll give her that. Um, so one thing that struck me actually was how we assume, and someone has put this in. I think Steph, my neighbor, has put this in the chat here. Of you make the assumption that everyone knows what Wordle is, but how many people in the chat said, "But my Wordle is empty," and
Okay. Yeah,
because they'd
yeah,
never
yeah.
used Wordle before, which seems, when you think about the zeitgeist of Wordle during COVID and how much and how much money the New York Times paid for Wordle and how big it was, you must think everybody in the world has played Wordle, but they haven't.
Absolutely. Point taken, Tom. So if I would to use it realistically, I would actually tell them, how we laid out virtual escape room, how it's going to be played. As a facilitator, you've got to see what the game is and how it has to be played before we start. Yeah. I think Shalini has a hand up for a long time.
Yeah. I will. I'm trying to just weave a tapestry through the questions. Right. And we'll go to Shalini. Sorry, you've had your hand up for ages. Have you got your camera, or you don't feel like you have to?
Hi, thank you. No, it's fine. I was enjoying the questions and the responses. So sorry, I can't switch on my camera just now, but I hope you can hear me okay. Can you hear me
We
okay?
can.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, first of all, both of you. It was a lovely presentation. Really enjoyed it. And I love games. I love board games myself. And my experience was a little bit of a hit and a miss. This was during COVID times, and when we switched to Blackboard Collaborate a big time, and I do prescribing sessions for students. So I developed a crossword puzzle, and my area is pharmacology, and which you would agree is quite a dense factual based subject, and so I wanted to make it fun. And for so this crossword puzzle was around adverse drug reactions, and I have to say students were quite broadly, students enjoyed it, and then but there was a small number who wouldn't engage that much with the puzzle as such. And my specific question is really, is there literature out there regarding neurodivergence and some of the games issues? Because I realized that one of our dyslexic students was struggling big time with the crossword, and the idea was not the crossword. The idea was to make learning adverse drug reactions and using the BNF fun. That was the idea. So I was wondering, and then that really made me feel quite bad, actually, about not having that insight into alternative formats for certain learning. So that if there is literature out there at all regarding
Okay, so Shani, obviously, I started doing all this without looking up reviews and stuff like that, but I had to do this for the grand rounds, trying to bring the evidence, and there is quite a bit of work done. With the same thing that you have said, how do you think a lecture goes to neurodiverse students? Okay, so we do have to question at every single point of every teaching episode we have. We cannot satisfy everybody, but the more diverse we are in teaching methods, the more likely we are going to help students. And what do you think, Jordan?
No, I was just nodding behind you. Yeah.
So there is, in the slide, where I've talked about equity and inclusivity. That is a study that has looked to see how people with not only neurodiversity but disabilities as well. How do we make sure that they are also included when we are doing a gamification process? Yeah. Somebody had asked whether we can give the slides. Yes, absolutely. I don't know whether I should give the slides to Tom, but we can.
Yeah, if you just give them to me, I can disseminate them.
Yeah, we can share the slides. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, having been involved in teaching at various levels, operationally, strategically, for what, 17 years now. Obviously, our ability to generate these things as changes, and there was chat along the side here about getting Abate to help with UI games and apps and bits and pieces. But even if you go back 15 years, we were trying to do new things. We were trying to do MDTs, and we were trying to do more small group teaching and involve people who found lectures very difficult to take all that information, and trying to do blended learning. We had team-based learning. We built an entire lecture theatre based on team-based learning. I think in Dundee we've been very proactive in going, trying to do all these things. And you're right, Kalpana, you can't have a system that works absolutely for everybody all of the time. But I think this diversity of options is really fantastic. What the medical students have always asked from us, in my time at least, was more small group teaching, more interaction, more of this sort of stuff. Sometimes you do that and it's very difficult to get that interaction, to get people to speak and to walk the walk of the potential of getting stuff wrong. I mean, we all worry about saying something wrong, don't we? So kudos to Ian and Sarah for answering those questions at all in this forum. But for students, they're just petrified of getting something wrong in front of peers. Sarah and I have made enough mistakes in our long lives not to care anymore. I think I'm just waiting for her reaction. But
speak for yourself. Long life.
We see the benefits.
You still won. You still won in the leaderboard.
That's it. You still won. You still know about Marina Coils.
The hustler. Yeah.
I think we still see the benefit of making mistakes, getting things wrong in a safe environment, being able to learn from getting something wrong, which we've done today. And trying to get that across to students, I think, is difficult, but I think this really helps. You may not have won your game of Snakes and Ladders, your game of Mededopoly, but you've learned a lot. It's the game of life, isn't it? Without being too philosophical about it.
God, that was quite heavy there.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what came over me. So, anyone have any other questions?
I think Fiona has asked whether we know what students tend to play. I don't know, Fiona, but that's something we can look at to see what they would.
They probably know what Wordle is, though.
Oh,
I suspect. But do they know that it's actually based on a 1970s board game called Mastermind?
No, I don't know as well.
No. Well, I put it in the chat. So for those of you who are as old as me, the original idea for Wordle is a game called Mastermind, not really based on the TV show at all, which is a logic puzzle of working out a code of colors rather than a code of words. I don't think I still have this in my loft, but I do remember playing it when I was a kid. And that shows how old I am. Okay, so anybody got any other chats? There's 2 more comments at the bottom. There you go. Rachel had a copy of Mastermind, and so does Charlotte. So there you go. I'm not the only one with a dusty copy of Mastermind in my loft. Right, everyone, thank you so much for your interaction today. Thanks to Sarah and to Ian for running the gauntlet of Jeopardy, and to everyone else who played along on Menti. Next week is the first of a double header of pediatric nutrition talks, and Lorna McCarricker is going to come and speak first about the work she's been doing with GINA, which is not the Global Initiative for Asthma, which is what is in my head, but GINA, which is the Gaza International Nutrition Alliance. So very topical in terms of geopolitics, but an important topic. And actually, Lorna has been waiting for months to give this talk. So I'm really pleased that she's coming next week. And the week after that, there's another pediatric nutrition talk, talking in more general terms about pediatric nutrition in infants and children. And that one will be in the Wolfson Lecture Theatre. So you get to come and see each other face to face, although it will be done hybrid as well. So you can still join in on Zoom. If you've not swung by our YouTube channel recently, I've uploaded an extra 20 talks over Christmas. I had a really exciting Boxing Day, as you'll see by the upload dates of editing videos from 2015, 17, 18 and 19. So you can go and look back at some previous Grand Rounds. It's actually quite interesting rewatching them to see not how they stand the test of time in terms of, the talks were excellent, but how medicine changes and how sometimes it doesn't. So it is well worth going to have a look at those talks in the context of when they were given, and you can see that I'm still wearing the same shirt I did in 2019. So until next week, it's on Zoom again, pediatrics, and have a good weekend. Drive safe, everyone. Hope your road is gritted, and if there's snow, build a snowman. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.